Good afternoon, I'm James Preston reporting to you live from 𝐊𝐚𝐥𝐤𝐢𝐧𝐞 studios. It's lunchtime here in Sydney and you know what that means, it's time for the Mid Market Pulse. So let's zoom our lens on the Australian share market performance. Australian shares were trading lower by lunchtime as weak global cues and selling across materials and the energy space dragged the market. Investors also turned cautious ahead of the Reserve Bank of Australia's monetary policy announcement to get more clarity on bond tapering. While the central bank is expected to keep cash rates unchanged at record lows, it may give some insight on the economic stimulus program. The benchmark index, ASX 200, was down by 0.21% by lunch. The index opened lower today, tracking muted cues from Wall Street. In the overnight trade, US stocks ended on a mixed note as concerns over the Delta variant of coronavirus weighed heavily on the market. The S&P 500 added 0.18%, while the Dow Jones declined 0.28%. The Nasdaq Composite added 0.06%, and the market itself witnessed cautious trading ahead of a monetary policy announcement. The Reserve Bank of Australia is widely expected to delay its decision to taper its bond buying program, as Sydney remains under a coronavirus lockdown. Earlier in June, the central bank had said it would reduce its debt purchases from September due to better than expected economic outcomes. In the banking space, Australia's big four leaders, Westpac, the Commonwealth Bank, ANZ Bank and also NAB, were all under stress. On the sectoral front, 8 of the 11 sectors were also trading in the red zone. Information technology topped the chart for the second day by surging over 4.5%, followed by utilities and also consumer staples. Meanwhile, materials was the worst performer, dropping over 1% due to a fall in commodity prices. The energy sector was also down 0.6% as oil prices softened on concerns about the virus impacting economic activity. All right, let's now take a look at the top gainers and losers, and buy now, pay later major Afterpay emerged as the top gainer on the ASX for the second straight session, trading 12.5% higher by lunchtime. Rival firm Zip Co Payment also extended its rally and added 4.5%. Some of the other notable gainers on the ASX were gold miner Chalice Mining, software firm Appen and payment solutions firm EML Payments. On the other hand, online bookmaker PointsBet Holdings was the biggest loser with a huge 13.4% loss. Some of the other worst performers were coal miner Whitehaven Coal, miner Perseus Mining, gold mining firm Evolution Mining and also steel manufacturer BlueScope Steel. A number of companies have also made headlines today outside of their gains and losses. Shares of Qantas Airways dropped 1.7% to $4.47 Australian on plans to stand down employees temporarily. Australia's largest airline by fleet size has announced that around 2,500 workers will be stood down from mid-August for an estimated period of 2 months. The carrier has taken this decision in response to the extended COVID-19 lockdown in Sydney. The decision will directly impact domestic pilots, cabin crew and airport workers, mostly in New South Wales but also in other states. Employees will be given 2 weeks' notice before the stand down takes effect, with pay continuing until mid-August. As per the company announcement, the stand down is a temporary measure to deal with a significant drop in flying, which has been caused by COVID restrictions in Greater Sydney and the knock-on effect of border closures in all other states and territories. The company clarified that no job losses are expected. Time now for a very short break on 𝐊𝐴 TV. On the other side of these messages, we'll take a look at some more trending ASX updates. Stay with us for the Mid Market Pulse.
Tune in to stay updated while on the move.
We will tell you where the crypto craze has reached,
Where the property market is headed next.
what the world is doing to become more environmentally friendly.
Apart from tracking the daily market charter.
Be on top of the latest news and announcements
With 𝐊𝐴 TV.
Hi, welcome back. James Preston with you live from 𝐊𝐿𝐴 Studios in Sydney. It's great to have your company for the Mid Market Pulse program. We're taking a look at the major movements on the ASX so far today, along with the top headlines from the world of business and finance, and that includes Crown Resorts. Australian casino operator Crown Resort shares were up 0.7% at $9. The company announced that Crown Melbourne's chief executive, Xavier Walsh, will stand down on August 20 ahead of his departure from the company, scheduled for the 9th of December 2021. The company said it will make an interim appointment for the role of CEO Crown Melbourne, following consultation with the Victorian Commission for Gambling and Liquor Regulation. In a separate development, Melbourne Casino has lodged a written closing submission with the Victorian Royal Commission. Moving on, and shares of buy now, pay later firm Afterpay extended their gains for the second session following a takeover bid from American fintech Square Incorporated. Afterpay's share price rose 12.5% to 129 Aussie dollars per share after surging over 19% in the previous session. In the overnight trade on Wall Street, Square shares also climbed 10.3% to trade at $272 a share as investors cheered its plans to buy Afterpay and its better than expected results for the quarter ending June 30. Square has proposed to acquire Afterpay for $39 billion in Australia's biggest ever buyout deal. The all-stock deal is expected to close in the first quarter of calendar year 2022, subject to requisite approval. Next up, in shares of oil and gas major Santos were trading marginally higher. The energy major said in an ASX update that it will provide a loan to Comet Ridge to acquire Australia Pacific LNG's 30% stake in the Mahalo gas project. The Mahalo gas project is a joint venture between Comet Ridge, Santos and also Australia Pacific LNG. Santos and Australia Pacific LNG own 30% each with their stakes in the project, while Comet Ridge holds a 40% interest. Following the completion of the acquisition, Comet Ridge's stake will increase to 70%. A cash consideration of $12 million Australian will also be paid to Australia Pacific LNG on the completion of the acquisition, in addition to an $8 million post-completion payment in deferred tranches. Take a look at the next piece of news, and the share price of PointsBet Holdings dropped over 13% after its institutional equity sale. Australia's fastest growing online bookmaker has raised 81 million Aussie dollars by selling equities to institutional investors in a deal announced last week. The institutional entitlement offer received was strongly supported by Australian and international institutional shareholders. Moving on, and shares of Copper Energy climbed over 2% to 23.5 cents per share after it issued operational and financial updates. The production at the Seoul gas field increased by 21% in July compared with the fourth quarter average in the 2021 financial year due to an improved performance at the Orbost gas processing plant. The company said it has undertaken significant testing at its Orbost gas plant and solids removal technologies with promising results delivered to date. The details on the work program, cost and timing of the upcoming capital works will be provided in the coming weeks. Next up, and we're taking a look at shares of Credit Corp, which fell 0.7% to $28.32 following a June quarter's earning report. The debt buyer's profit surged nearly 500% in the 2021 financial year, which prompted it to declare a final dividend for the first time in 2 years. Revenue rose 19.6%, while profit zoomed 470%. Moving on to the next news, and shares of News Corp were also up nearly 1%, hitting $32.45 on the back of announcing plans to acquire Oil Price Information Service. The media firm said it has struck a deal to acquire the Oil Price Information Service and all associated assets from S&P Global and IHS Markit. The top extremely lucrative and constantly expanding digital data, analytics and insights provider will become part of the Dow Jones' burgeoning professional information business. That of course features Dow Jones Risk and Compliance, Dow Jones Newswire and also Factiva. And lastly, we take a look at Perth-based mineral explorer Anson Resources. The company has entered into a non-binding agreement with Tetra Technologies Incorporated to jointly develop Anson's Paradox Brine project, which is located in Utah in America. Both firms will discuss a developmental framework. The framework will allow Anson Resources and Tetra to negotiate an off-take agreement. It will also help Tetra's patented process technology at the project and manage the planned bromine production facility operation. Alright then, that's all for now, but stay tuned with 𝐾𝐤𝐴 TV for more live market updates. There's more news on markets, economy and diverse themes and sectors shortly, but for now, that'll do for me. I'm James Preston, signing off for 𝐾𝐤𝐴 TV.